Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Pote and watching Knight 2.5. So today we are going to look the game between Fischer and Spassky of World Championship 1972. It is the third game. You will ask, where is the second game? The second game actually never happened. As we know, Fischer demanded too many things, and out of that was the lights and the cameras should be turned off. The cameras was making too much noise, and it was like a trouble for Fischer. And he said that he didn't want that cameras to be on, and these conditions were not accepted in the game too. And Fischer did not appear there. And after 1 hour, the arbiter there said that Spassky has won the match because Fischer didn't arrive. So before the third game, this all the all the demands of Fischer was accepted, and then this match continued. So before this match, Spassky came and played the move d4. Here Spassky is white and Fischer is black. After playing move to d4, Fischer didn't arrive and everyone was surprised, like all his demand was accepted, and why did Fischer is not arrive? Everyone was thinking of that, and in next 10 minutes Fischer arrived, but Fischer was still complaining to the chief arbiter about the hidden cameras making the noise. So all the cameras were turned off and only one camera was on, which was not making the noise. So after all this controversy, Fischer again played knight to f6, same as the game 1. Boris replied with c4, e6 and knight f3. Till here the position is same as in the first game. c5. This move c5 differs from round 1. The position is now shifted to Benoni. d5, e into d5, c into d5, d6, and like now Fischer has invited, moreover he has challenged Boris Spassky to play this Benoni game, yeah, because we know that Fischer is very good Benoni player. So knight to c3, g6, knight d2. Okay, this is completely fine move, knight to d2. There can be many other move like e3 and developing this bishop first, or else developing the light square bishop on d3. But this is completely fine. It's theory. Knight d2, knight b d7, e4, bishop g7. Okay, you can place before e4 this idea of knight to c4, attacking this pawn, so the black player can't play bishop to g6. But now black can simply play knight to b6, and now your knight is attacked, and if you take this knight, I can simply take it, and now like black has this open file for his rook. So this wasn't played in the game. Instead e4, bishop to g7, bishop e2, both side castles. On the king side, the pawn structure here represent the exact one of the modern Benoni. Black has much less space than white. This is semi-open position. White has pawn majority in the center. Black has pawn majority on the queen side. Pawn square weakness, like black has a potential outpost on d4, d4, and d6, while d6 pawn is the weakness. So it is a backwards pawn, yeah, like d6 is a backward pawn. So rook to e8, queen to c2, and now you can see, yeah, like this queen has played to queen c2, and now there is no longer this bishop and queen battery. So suddenly some ideas can come along with it, and if something like some attacks come on the king side, you can see this queen can't just go over the king side and defend the lonely king, yeah. So we will see what happens. Knight to h5 happen in the game. Another variation can be like a4, a6, rook a3, rook b8, rook e1, knight e5, h3, g5, knight f1, s6, knight g3, rook bishop d7, a5, and knight to g6. This is a variation of Benoni played by Wojtaszek and Panagro in 2019. In this attack, on queen side is dormant, with the king side seems to blowing up. But this wasn't played in game. Instead, Fischer played knight to h5, offering this bishop to take this knight and double this pawn. We can think, a normal player like us can think like, okay, these pawns are double and also now the squares are weak here, but there is some very subtle point behind it. So like Spassky has to take it, bishop into h5, g into h5. The trade of knight and the bishop here is significant. White has now given black the bishop pair advantage, but black has spoiled pawn structure with double isolated pawn on h5. Then knight c4. This move puts the knight in a position called the Pirochik of Nimzovich. This transfers put pressure on the d6 pawn, immediately threatening it. If given a chance, white will try to develop the bishop with the tempo by playing bishop to f4. So the next move was played knight to e5. So the indirect support is transferred to the pawn. So after knight to e5, knight to e3, queen to h4. Now like some heat is coming up. So bishop to d2. Now this is a very critical position, because something like we can say that, okay, there can be a king side attack now, because if we see this move of knight to f3 check comes in my mind, because you have to take, otherwise you lose this bishop. So after this takes, black can attack. We can see this move. Black can play bishop to e5, attacking this pawn. And now how to defend it? Okay, obviously there is this defense of you can play something like rook to e1. If you take my pawn, I will just simply run. So something like queen to h3 can be played, and after that there can be protection from knight to f2. And now it is very suspicious, like you don't know what is happening in the game. So this wasn't played in the game. Instead, after queen to h4, bishop d2, knight g4 was played, and knight into g4, h into g4. The trade here by white undoubles black's pawn, as black now is starting to attack on the king side. So this trade has absolutely helped the black pieces, because now this double pawn has come here and it will help the black side to attack. So bishop f4, queen f6, attacking this bishop. So g3, guarding this bishop, rather taking it back. So after g3, this move, but we can see this move weakens the king side, leading to future attack, because now these two squares are weak. So bishop d7, a4, b6, rook fv1, a6, rook e2, b5, rook a1, queen g6. The Fischer is trying to slowly and steadily take his advantage into a more suitable one, because now he has to convert it. Yeah, he has simply, now black has a winning advantage, we can say, because now there is king side attack. We can see this pawns are weakened. Also Fischer has this queen side pawn majority, so anything can happen. b3, rook e7, and queen to d3, rook b8, a into b5, a into b5, b4, c4, queen d2, rook b8, queen e3, rook e3. This move is a mistake, as there is no point on pushing the rook up. It is a waste of move. So now Fischer starts to attack on king side. He feel, yeah, like there is no such good moves for white to make. So just Fischer is now attacking on the king side. So rook 3 e2, and white wastes two moves with rook e3 and rook e2. So now the thing is, Fischer is trying to test the patience of the world champion by playing king h2 and returning back king g8. Again rook e2, and now bishop into c3. The tactic here is that when black takes the knight on c3 with his bishop, he gains the pawn on e4. It results in mass trading as rooks are all traded off. So queen into c3, rook into e4, rook into e4, rook into e4, rook into e4, and queen into e4. So now the thing is, first of all, black is a pawn up, and also he has very active queen, and this bishop can suddenly be somewhere here and at taking this advantage of this weak squares. Yeah, so bishop h6 threatening here a checkmate. So queen g6 attacking the bishop, bishop c1, queen b1 pinning this bishop to the king. So after bishop, queen b1, queen f1, this is mistake as the bishop is now pinned to the king and is unable to move. The queen is also unable to move as it is protecting the bishop. So Bobby Fischer plays bishop to f5, and simple idea, like you want to play either bishop to d3 or bishop to e4 and then put your bishop on f3. Both the ideas looks very good. So after king to e2, queen e4 check. Now this white queen has to leave the strong diagonal. So after queen a4, queen e3, and now it's important you don't exchange the queens, because then there is opposite color bishop and the endgame will be draw. So queen c2 check, queen d2, queen b3, and queen d4 is the mistake, because now this is blunder, because white loses the pawn on b4 along with the strong attack on the sphinx with bishop d3 check. So after rook d3 check, white resigns, because if you play something like king to e1, then I will simply take this pawn, and now this is simply winning because you have two connected passes and you have to just push it and it will be a proper win. Also, if you suppose you say you will play something like king to e3, then I can play queen to d1 and threatening this check. So again this is a nasty checkmate. So white resigns here, also attacking the bishop. So this was the win for, look, okay, we can check it. So after bishop to b2, I can give this check of queen to f3 and you have to return. So after queen to e2 check, both the moves are checkmate, like queen to e1 or queen to c2 is a checkmate. So Boris Spassky resigned after bishop to d3 check, and we can learn like how Spassky was a gentleman. Yeah, after game 2 we can just say, I want to play in front of cameras, I am the world champion, I want the media attention and all. But Spassky just agreed all the agreements of Fischer. He can won that championship just by saying no. Yeah, but he's true gentleman, he want to promote chess, so he just agreed all. Although Soviet Union was not happy with this, because eventually Spassky lost the world championship and all. If this will not happen, then the second contender, like either the Spassky will be world champion, or the second contender, who is Tigran Petrosian, would have played the match in Moscow and things will happen. But at the end of the day, Soviet Union will have the world chess champion and everything. So everyone say it was tactics of Bobby Fischer, but you have to remember that at that time the cameras used to make a lot of noise. So it was not a tactics. Bobby Fischer was like that, and Spassky was a true gentleman of the game. Hope you like my video, and if you like, do share, subscribe and hit that bell icon for getting regular notification. Thank you.